Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 16 of my House in Fata Morgana Let's Play. In the last episode, we finally got more into Michel's backstory after Giselle's tragic backstory as the maid, and Morgana, and what caused her to become the witch. Now we get to Michel, and as I predicted, although I mean the signs are all there, it's pretty obvious when you think about it. Like all the clues that the game has given. Michel is the white-haired girl. Michel was born as a girl and is now a man, but suppressed that. Wanted to keep that from Giselle, and Giselle reacted very strongly and negatively to it. I'm starting to think that Giselle there is not the real Giselle. I feel like that is like a fabrication of Morgana to try and break Michel down. But yes, we got into like the tragic childhood of Michel and not feeling like they were, I guess, you know, the beginnings of feeling like something's wrong. Like their feelings towards Amy, who is George's fiance, and just wrestling with all of those feelings, and I imagine it's just going to get more tragic from here. So let's get back into the story and let's delve more into Michel and how we got from Michel to Michel. I awoke in the middle of the night to pain in my joints. Not enough exercise, I guess. I tried bending and stretching my arms and legs, but it did nothing. So after pondering on it for a bit, I decided to go for a late night walk to distract myself. As I approached the corridor adjacent to the courtyard, I heard a woman's voice. I'm still concerned about staying here. Amy's voice. Doing my best to remain perfectly quiet, I pressed myself up against the wall by the window and listened in on their conversation. I knew it was important to eavesdrop, but the sound of her voice had me frozen in place. It's Michel. I'm afraid I've confused her. A tiny jolt ran down my spine, and my muscles all tensed up at once. The sound of my name rising to her lips, but not in a way I would have liked. She kissed me. Well, almost, but how could I have guessed she thought of me that way? Mother told me she didn't have any female friends, and asked me to be one for her, which is why... So she had only been coming to see me, because Mother had asked her to. I had been afraid of that. Afraid she wasn't there, to be with me. That she had no fondness for me. That my yearning for her was one-sided. She kind of scares me, the way she looks at me, always watching every little move I make. I'm sensitive to that sort of thing. I can tell what's going through Michel's mind. I managed to deflect it this time, but I should have never gotten friendly with her. She had seen through me from day one, understood what I was feeling before even I had. Oh gosh, it's disgusting. Homosexuality. I guess that's the, the thinking of the time. This is way back when, but still sad. Homosexuality? Did I hear her right? Something inside me crumbled, and with it came an intense sense of wrongness. There it was again, that overpowering discomfort, that fear coursing through my veins, that repulsion, that irritation, that apprehension. What on earth was I? Did I view Amy as a member of the same sex? Were the things I felt homosexual? I heard Amy sigh from beyond the window. Then the man beside her, who she was confiding all this in, replied. She's still just a child. That voice. And one with underdeveloped social skills, besides. Understand that she's going to do and say some inappropriate things. It's not uncommon for a child to mistake admiration for love. And I didn't know this until recently, but when she gets something into her head, she has a tendency to run with it without thinking. Was not the man's I'd assume... Oh shit, so... We assumed it was George's. I bet it's the other brother. It is! The other day she asked me to let her be a knight. I can't imagine how she thought that would end any other way. Why? It's not very often there are women other than Mother at the estate. I imagine she simply got nervous being around you, and something got mixed up in her head. Why was Didier out here with her? Oh shit! Are they having a little something going on here? I hope that's all it was. Amy, hadn't you told me? You thought Georges was a gentleman? So what were you doing? Getting so friendly with Didier. Oh shit! And Didier, weren't you my ally? Or was that all an act, like her? You were going to be a knight. So why were you out here with your brother's fiancé? I mean, they could just be talking. Maybe she doesn't feel like this is the type of thing to confide to Georges in. Maybe Didier has like a little bit more of a firm head on his shoulders, but I don't know. Seems strange. I'm glad to have you here, so I hope you can figure something out to make it work. I'll do what I can, but... And I'm kind of reluctant to say this to you, but something has to change. As it is, she kind of grosses me out. Aw, she grosses me out. So what, I was some kind of sick, disgusting creature? All I had done was show feelings for her. I couldn't be Georges or Didier. The needles piercing me expanded, both in size and number. Soon I was being skewered by a dozen of them, and the heated sighs rising from the courtyard only served to make the pain worse. All I could do was cover my ears and run. Why? What were you doing out there, Didier? How am I gross, Amy? It's not real. It's all a bunch of lies. This entire house is nothing but a fraud. None of it was ever real. The family gatherings, Amy's smiles, Didier's kindness, George's. What about George's? Did he agree to the marriage knowing about them? Oh, so yeah, they are together. What the hell are they thinking? You want to know what's really disgusting? Or who's really disgusting? God damn it. I will not cry. I will not cry. I can't let myself. Girls cry. Tears are for girls, not for me. I bit down hard on my lip, wrapped myself in my sheets, and pressed my hands hard over my ears, squeezed my eyes shut as tight as I could manage, tried to get away from the things I had seen. Images of them embracing in the night threatened to float back to the surface, but I shook my head, casting them off, praying I wouldn't have any nightmares. I drifted off to sleep. Wow, this is just escalating. The next day I awoke with a terrible fever. I hovered in a sweltering wave of heat, unable to tell dream and reality apart, listening to a seemingly endless stream of crackling noises. The sounds were coming from inside my body. I thought I was falling apart. Mother was horribly worried. I had never been the most healthy child, but I'd never fallen this ill either. I couldn't get out of bed. My voice was raspy, like an old woman's. I was genuinely afraid I would wither away and die. Mother called in doctor after doctor to see me, but they all said it was the flu. That bodily pain was common with a fever. While there was a doctor in the house, Mother was able to remain relatively calm, but once they were gone, the anxiety came back. She stayed with me night and day, even foregoing sleep. Her hands gripped mine. They held me fast. She had her head bowed as if in prayer. Don't worry, it'll be all right, Michel. God is watching over you. He will protect you. This is so sad because she probably feels like her mom's the only one who actually loves her, but then we know that her mom just flipped. And once again, I apologize, I'm saying her. It's, yeah. Right now, I'm saying this as, like, Michel, as the young girl Michel. You are his child. You are his angel sent to Earth. He will not forsake you. The doctors say it's just the flu. Though her words seemed to be directed at me, there was a vacantness in her voice, as if they were really for herself. For so long she'd wanted a daughter. I couldn't understand her fixation. But seeing her there through my cloudy eyes, I wanted to apologize for ever thinking spending time with her was agonizing. How are you feeling? Your mother's here for you, don't worry. The only sound that came from my mouth was a faint gasp. I drifted in and out of sleep, Mother's hand wrapped around my own, and I had numerous dreams. In my dreams, I was a man. In my dreams, I was Didier, and I was Georges. In my dreams, I fell in love with Amy. And in my dreams, I loved her. You're disgusting, but with one word, the dreams twisted into nightmares. My body was torn into fleshy chunks, and I sunk into the darkness. Ah, huh? Several days later, my fever was gone, like it had never been there. However, Guh. What the? My voice did not recover. And when I attempted to climb from my bed, the murderous pain in my joints came rushing back. Instead of my feet, I landed on my face. My voice was unbelievably deep. And the pain only got worse. Every time I took a breath, it felt like someone hammering a spike into the back of my neck. It felt like my body was falling apart, like my dreams were becoming reality. Michel! Michel! When Mother scrambled into my chambers, I remembered the time she had spent at my bedside, and a wave of relief came over me. I reached my hand out in a show of vulnerability, but she didn't take it. She couldn't take it. Mother. What? What's wrong with your voice, Michel? Wow, is she actually, like, going from Michel to Michel? I assumed maybe, like, she had done something to her body, but it seems like it's actually changing. Huh. I see. You're still not feeling well, are you, Michel? A look of restrained fear on her face, Mother stepped toward me, placing her hand on my forehead. Her palm felt hot against my skin. You don't have a fever, but I hurt all over. My joints. Is it because, like, going from a woman's body to a man's body, it's like the joints are growing, so it's just feeling the pain of just, like, rapid growth? Is that what's happening? You're still sick, Michel. But don't worry, you'll be fine in no time. Now back to bed with you. You're a girl, so you shouldn't be sitting on the floor. It's bad for your back. As Mother repeated the phrase, you're a girl, again and again, that nagging sense that something wasn't quite right grew more distinct. Look in the mirror. Are you gonna look in the mirror and see, like, have you changed? Was I really sick? Was this actually my voice now? And if it was, what was I turning into? My voice was certainly not a girl's voice. My voice never went back to normal, though, so Mother ordered me to remain in my room. I hadn't recovered yet, and so long as I was sick, I couldn't be let out. Again, something felt wrong about her calling it a sickness, but I had no evidence to the contrary. I had no way to know I wouldn't get others sick if I exposed them, as she claimed, so I had no choice but to do as she said. In time, Mother too stopped visiting me, and the only people I saw were servants. They did their jobs but refused to look me in the eye. No one else came to see me, though. Not Amy, Didier, or Georges. 1 month passed, and 2, then 3. This is so sad. Like, I knew that Michel was kind of, like, locked away a bit because of the, you know, the pale skin and stuff, but it's so sad, even before Michel was locked away in the actual mansion, was locked away at home, too. So it's just, like, never really had any freedom at all. Occasionally, the pain in my joints would withdraw. At other times, it would worsen. Whenever I'd drift off to sleep, I would hear the sound of my own joints creaking. I would dream of a woman standing in the courtyard, her soft chestnut hair fluttering in the wind as she twirled to face me, a smile on her face and her breasts exposed. One day, around 6 months of servants refusing to make eye contact, I stopped one and made a request. To have a mirror brought to my room. Ah, here we go. When he didn't acknowledge me the next day, while he didn't acknowledge me, the next day I had my mirror. By that point, I was fairly certain I knew what was happening to my body. I had no clothes to wear, because none of the multicolored dresses hanging in my wardrobe fit me anymore. Pulling the heavy red cloth covering the mirror aside, my completely naked body came into view. This is wild. So actually was... Huh. I can't explain this except, like, magic. To literally be given the body that Michel felt like he was supposed to have. Something resembling a mix of a chuckle and a sigh of pity spilled from my lips. This is me. 6 months. After only 6 months' time, I could hardly recognize myself. Extending my hand for the mirror, I traced the outline of my bony reflection. My shoulders lacked Mother's curves, and my skin Amy's sheen. I was pale and haggard, but structurally I looked like my brothers. Obviously, being younger than them and not as active, my muscles lacked any kind of strength, but I wouldn't have batted an eye if I saw myself holding a sword. I was a full head taller than I had been 6 months earlier, And I felt an odd certainty that I wasn't done growing either. Staring at myself in the mirror, I traced my name across the surface. Michel. I don't need the last two. Michel. Yeah, that's... wow. Wow. For the first time in my life, I liked my name. I still didn't think an angel's name suited me one bit, but it was staggering how different it felt now, even if it sounded exactly the same. Those last two letters changed the meaning entirely, turning it from a girl's name to a boy's name. This now makes sense. Everything was falling into place. My admiration for Didier, the envy I had for my brother's bodies, the feelings I had for Amy, the indecent dreams I'd been having. I was always male. Ha. Ha ha ha. Like, how do I explain this? Maybe it was Morgana? Is Morgana around at this point? Granted the body that he wanted? I cackled like a fool for the first time in my life. I laughed so hard at the sight of myself, my stomach hurt. It was the first glimmer of light I had seen in this locked room for far too long. This was what I was supposed to look like. My life up until 6 months ago. Constricted and uncomfortable. My life as a girl was all a lie. No one could possibly look at me and call me an angel. Ha ha ha. I was always a boy, but I'd been told I was a girl. Forced to act like one. Of course that wouldn't feel right. Ha ha ha. They needed to know. I couldn't be the only one who understood. Oh gosh, that face. Everyone in this house needed to. Fueled by this one desire, I wrapped a sheet over my shoulders and threw open my door. Yeah, if his brothers hadn't seen him in a while, or the father, or anybody, that would be quite the shock to see. It seemed ridiculous how long I'd followed Mother's instructions and remained cooped up in my room. And now, I felt fantastic. If there truly was a God in heaven, then this change within me was his answer to my prayers. A manservant carrying a tray of food did a double take as I passed him. The further I proceeded through the corridors, the more eyes I felt on me. The midday sun shone obnoxiously bright through the windows, but now with its piercing radiation illuminating my proper self, I felt an odd affection for the light. I could hear the family gathered in the great hall, everyone but me. Didier's voice complained about the simple meals the church provided, but his pride came through in his laughter. George's voice playfully bragged about life at the royal court. Father's voice informed everyone his investments had borne fruit, and with the money he had purchased several new estates. Mother's voice was distinctly less bright than the rest of the family's. She gave vague, empty indications she was listening, though mostly stayed out of the conversation. Amy's voice sang her praises for Georges, her beloved husband. Never mind the fact she was sleeping with Didier. Oh gosh, Michel's gonna come in and he's just gonna drag everybody. He's gonna spill all the tea. It was all a facade, a mere shadow of a family. It's a shame Michel couldn't be here. Then we would have everybody. I was there. I was right there. I hadn't gone anywhere. You had just locked me in my room. I hope she recovers soon. I was never sick at all. The child you called Michel was actually your son. That was all there was to it. I can't wait for this. I know this is gonna end badly, but I'm so excited. Huh? What? Everyone's gaze is concentrated on me. I gave them all a quick glance, and then with my deepened voice I said, I am cured. I was cured 6 months ago. Who are you? Surely you haven't forgotten my face, have you? Father? Michel? Michel! This boy is Michel? A wave of chatter spread through the hall. Mother went pale. Father objected. Didier stared. Georges gaped. Amy watched cautiously, fear in her eyes. What a farce. They were the ones who had wrongly decided I was a girl. What's going on? Someone tell me, what is the meaning of this? You were dressing your son up like a girl, Mother? I assumed he was a girl. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put my hands on him like that. You lied to me. I would have never agreed to it had I known. No, you're wrong. Michel is my daughter. You call that a girl? All these months I was worried because you said he was sick. But that was all a lie. You couldn't pass him off as a girl anymore, so you locked him up in his room. Is that what this is? And you could have just stayed there. Wow, I thought maybe she felt some pity for me for a second, like felt bad, but now it's like, nope. What possessed you to show yourself now? Stop that, don't look at me. Don't give me that look. You said you can tell what's going through my mind, didn't you? What? Then you should know exactly how I feel about you right now. Don't be so damn full of yourself. I have no interest in a whore like you. Oh, shit. So why don't you go cry into Didier's arms? Oh, damn. You... What? What? Huh? What are you talking about? Why Didier? Why not me? What? Hey, anyone want to explain that for me? What had once been a nice family meal was now utter chaos. For the briefest moment, I felt sorry for Georges, but that whisked away almost immediately. There was a crash from the table, and dishes fell shattering against the floor. Cursed! A chilling darkness oozed from her voice. She's cursed. She was my daughter. I saw it with my own eyes. I gave birth to her. She was a girl. Michel was a girl. A malevolent curse has been placed on her. When Mother lifted her head, I had difficulty believing that this was the same woman who had sat by my bedside as I lay sick, sacrificing sleep to care for me. Her hair was a frazzled mess, and deep creases covered her face. Restrain her, throw her in her room, and lock the door. She's a girl, a girl. She's a girl, I swear it. Open your eyes. Do I sound like a girl? Do I look anything like a girl? Mother's cries sent me into a frenzy. I ripped the sheet off my shoulders, throwing it to the floor. I am not a girl. And shouted, Eek! Restrain her, please, someone, restrain her. Fear reigned in the great hall, but then several moments of icy silence were broken by a muttering that shocked me as much as anyone else. You're not a boy, or a girl. What on earth are you? You're an abomination. You're not a boy. You're an abomination. She's just trying to turn things around after I called her out for cheating on her husband. She's just hoping that, like, all of this is, you know, gonna... But this, I mean, the sad thing is it probably will, because it is pretty shocking. I'm what? I had seen myself in the mirror. I was undoubtedly male. Lacking in strength though they may have been, I had visible muscles. My chest was flat, and I was taller than a girl should be. My voice was deep, and I had an obvious lump in the middle of my throat. I was male. I had to be male. What else could I be? So why? Why was Amy looking at me like some kind of strange creature? A chill ran down my spine, and I suddenly found myself deeply uncomfortable being so exposed. There's nothing there. Oh! Yeah, you know what? It was kind of in my head. It was kind of in my head. I was thinking, like, did everything become male? Okay. So, yeah, that explains why Michel was so, what's the word? Reluctant to have, oh my gosh, Giselle see him in all of his glory. Nothing there? I didn't understand what she was talking about. I guess Michel has never seen, you know, that. It's not like they have sex education back in the Middle Ages. Unable to press further, I fell silent, at which point several servants burst into the great hall and restrained me. She's a girl. She's my daughter. Mother, seemingly in a mad daze, just repeated the same thing over and over. She was a girl! As Mother wailed, she wandered off somewhere. Father stood there in silence. Amy stared at me with disgust in her eyes. Georges was still in a panic, and Didier clenched his fists. Eventually, I started regaining my composure, which is when I realized I had made a mistake. My sickness had been made into a curse. I was once more caged up in my room. Gosh, it's that moment where it's just like for about 10 seconds it feels good to get it all out of your system, and then you realize, like, oh boy, I went too far. I was once more caged up in my room, in addition to the door being locked from the outside. The windows were boarded over so no one could see in, leaving me in perpetual darkness. I received no visitors except the servants, and again, none of them would look me in the eye. Every day was the same. Day in and day out, day in and day out. The only time the routine changed was when, on occasion, a servant would arrive bearing a letter. It was my mother's handwriting on the parchment. We lived in the same house, yet she refused to show herself before me. I had no choice but to respond to her letters. She demanded I speak like a girl, and I didn't have the strength to defy her. There was a constant sense of urgency to her letters, like she might fall apart completely at any second. And so I did as she said. I signed each letter Michel, the female name she bestowed upon me at birth, which I so despised. Every time I used that name, I felt like I was denying my own identity. On paper, she expressed her concern for me, but that concern only served to cause me more pain. So every time I took up my quill, my hands trembled. Mother, prayed daily my curse might one day be broken. Am I cursed? Is that why my body changed? Was it not because I was male? There's nothing there. What did she mean by that? Why did she look at me the way she did? How am I an abomination? Why? I don't understand. Someone, anyone, please tell me. Someone, please. I have brought your supper. I will be back shortly to retrieve your dishes. I'll be going then. Wait. What? Wait a minute. Yes? What do you need, Michel? Are you a man or a woman? Pardon? Which are you? I am exactly what I appear to be. Which are you? I am a man. Oh, he's like, take your pants off. I want to see. I need to see what I'm missing. If that is all, I will be going now. Oh, he is too. Clothes off. What? Take off your clothes right now. Everything, even your underclothes. What? Surely you jest, Michel. I am very serious. I could not possibly. Why not? I could not expose myself. I ordered you to take off your clothes. You mean to humiliate me? I beg you, please reconsider. What are you? You're a servant of the Bollinger estate. And what am I? I am a child of the Bollinger family. I may be locked up, imprisoned in this room, but that doesn't make you any less my servant. Am I wrong? Clothes off. Michel, I ordered you to take your clothes off. Ugh. Not even the tiniest sliver of guilt arose in my conscience. I felt no shame in what I was doing. All that mattered to me was figuring out what Amy had meant. I wanted to find the truth, not knowing I would have been better off in the dark. His face twisted in humiliation. The servant undressed before me. In the dim candlelight, the man's body was shaped almost like a rectangle. And at a glance, he didn't appear much different than me. A second later, though, I found my answer. I found the one crucial thing he had that I didn't. Why? My lower body lacked the part that made a man a man. Are you satisfied, Michel? It was then I finally learned what a man's body was supposed to look like. I'm begging you, please allow me to dress. It would be an unbearable shame to remain unclothed any longer, before the young Bollinger daughter. Daughter? You still insist on calling me a damned girl? Look at these shoulders, my chest, listen to my voice. How can you possibly think any of that belongs to a girl? But you appear, how you appear does not... There was a distinct look of fear in the manservant's eyes, not out of respect for our difference in rank, but out of disgust for this incomprehensible thing standing there before him. Those trembling eyes, and the reality dangling there before me, blew the lid once more off everything I had been holding back. Without that, you'd be no different than me. Is he gonna cut it off? Is he gonna cut it off and be like, I'm attach it to me, I'm a man now? Oh gosh, everything else is all the same. So why does it make such a difference? That you have one and I don't. Michel? I am a man. I'm a man just like you. I am no one's daughter. And if you still insist we're not the same, then I'll make you like me. Oh shit, Michel! Wow. Without that, you're no different than me. So Michel's not, like, completely innocent. He seems like he's done some fucked up things. But, I mean, he was driven to madness at this point. It was a mix of dread and panic that pushed me over the edge. And so in order to keep myself afloat, I decided to bring another pain. Please don't do this, Michel. In a blind frenzy, hardly even aware of what I was doing, just riding the current of my erupting emotions. I swiped a knife off the tray the man had brought, knocked him down, and climbed onto him. Oh my gosh. I'll get rid of it. I'll make you the same. Without it, you'll be just like me. This poor servant man. Oh, like he just doing what he's told, and then this is what happens. Get off me, please. Someone help. I'll make you just like me. Get in here, someone, anyone. Michel. She's delirious. Through the fog of hysteria, I suddenly realized I was surrounded by several servants. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor beneath them. There were as many, if not more of them, than when I had made the scene in the great hall. A dozen men servants stared down at me, their eyes filled with fear and revulsion. And in the shadows beyond the crowd, I saw Mother looking in on me with vacant eyes. Mother, Mother, why? Why will you only speak to me through letters? Why do you say I'm cursed? Mother, I'm male. I was always male. Tell me that I am, Mother. Let me out of here, please. I'm not delirious. My head is perfectly clear. I mean, you did just threaten to chop off a guy's dick so that you two could be the same. I'm normal. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not cursed. Mother, say something. Mother! After that, I was shut in my room again, and even the servants stopped coming. I pushed and I shoved and I pulled and pounded with all my strength, but the door and windows didn't budge. A day passed, and then another. With no food or water, I started fearing death was upon me. Oh wow, they're straight up gonna starve him. I'd had no idea how miserable it was to go so long without water. My throat was dry and cracked, and it felt like it was on fire, making breathing difficult. 2 days, 48 long hours. I felt like I was going to lose my mind. After just 2 days, my skin stretched tight across my bones, looking hard and dry in the soft candlelight. Water. I need water. Someone, please, give me water. Why won't anyone bring me any? Why? My family had abandoned me and were leaving me to die in this room. It's pretty wild how it went from this, like literally starving him, trying to like basically just kill him through dehydration or starvation or whatever, to at least being in that mansion where like he was being provided with food and books. And so obviously something happened. Like he said, the brothers were always on his side, so something must have happened. Maybe the brothers don't know how bad it is, and they rebelled against the parents, but this is pretty dire right now. When I realized this, I broke into uncontrollable shaking. The helplessness threatened to suffocate me. Fear of death turned to panic, which only scrambled my already confused mind further. I grabbed a chair, swinging at the window, at the door. But all my attempts ended in crushing failure. Anyone. I clawed at the door, begging for help. Someone, open the door. Anyone. Water. I need water. 1 drop. That's all I need. I'm going to die in here. Someone. Anyone. Mother. Father. Didier. Georges. Someone, open the door, please. Help me. Someone. I need water. My throat hurts. It burns. I'm so weak. Someone. Water. Didier. Georges. Anyone. But not a single soul came to the door. With no food or water, the 3rd day came and went, and then the 4th. I find it hard to believe that the brothers have no knowledge that this is happening. Like, he was just locked, like, Michel was just locked in his room. It's in the house. It's not like he got thrown in, like, a dungeon or something. By that point, I was expectedly devoid of any sense of dignity, and I sat there covered in all manners of human filth, as my body quickly wasted away. Still, I clung to the vain hope that someone would open the door. It was all I had. Occasionally, I would hear footsteps. Whenever I did, I mustered what meager strength I had left to bang on the door. Whoever's there, please, open the door. I'm begging you, someone. But my pleas fell on deaf ears. Though they didn't respond to me, I could hear the Abigails muttering to one another in the corridor. Did you hear that? Yes, I did. I wonder what's gotten into Lady Michel. They say she's cursed. Maybe she sold her soul to the devil. How dreadful. We should stay away from that door, if we don't want to be cursed too. I am not cursed. I did not sell my soul to the devil. I'm kind of scared. I might have to find work somewhere else. I gotta make sure we stay away from that door. Why do you think I'm cursed? I never did anything wrong. Lady Michel has lost her mind. She's deranged. I'm scared even thinking about her. I am not deranged. My mind is perfectly fine. She's right crazy. She's right mad. No, I'm not. I'm perfectly normal. Tee-hee-hee. Someone, please get me out of here. The 5th and then the 6th day passed, and by that point I was hovering on death's brink. I lacked even the willpower to hold myself up against the door, so I simply lay on the cold floor, waiting for the end. I felt no sorrow, no anger, no despair, nothing. I had been sucked completely dry. I couldn't even compose a coherent thought, which is why, when the door I so yearned to open actually did, and someone stepped inside, standing over me, I was unable to process it. My God, what a mess. Hey, are you still alive? Well, look at that. I was afraid you'd be dead. Oh, Amy. It was Amy's voice. Oh, she's coming to get revenge for, giving the, giving away that she was having an affair. Oh, she looks so demonic. I'm sorry, really. She almost looks like, what are those called? Like a Yabito or something? Like she looks like a ghost. I don't know, like a spirit. I'm sorry, really. I didn't mean you much harm. But after what you said in front of the whole family, I was a little upset. I couldn't tell what she was saying. All I could hear was garbled sounds. And all I could do was moan at her. The servants are all afraid of you now, after your little episode, so I volunteered to bring you food in their place. Everyone was so grateful. I don't think anyone likes you anymore, so she looks like the, good, sweet girl to help this, cursed person, but she's gonna get her revenge. She's gonna torture Michel. That is not the smile of mercy right there. Eventually, my muddy mind managed to make sense of the thing she was holding in her hands. A tray of food. I could smell it from here. At first, I just gave you your food to a stray cat. I wish you could have seen it devouring every last bit. Water. What I didn't know, though, was that people can die in just a few days without water. I never intended to kill you. I just didn't know, so I'm really sorry about that. Water. But you're alive. For someone so physically weak, you sure are tenacious. So, the servants didn't realize that Michel was actually dying. But Amy's the only one who knew. Oh, wow. Isn't that nice? You have one thing you can be proud of. Water. What was that? Water? You want water? Hold on, I've got some right here. She picked up a goblet with her delicate fingers. My hand swiped weakly at the air, trying to grab it. A grin spread across her lips, and then she let go. Go on, drink. You'd better hurry or the rug will absorb it all. You wanted water, didn't you? Then drink. In that moment, I could hear the sound of the last of my dignity crumbling away. Driven solely by my survival instinct, I bent down toward the rug, pressing my lips against the spreading puddle. Ah, you really did it. This is too good, Michel. You look like a cat. No, cats are much more graceful. I can't stop laughing. The daughter of a prestigious family, the Bullingers, sucking water out of a carpet. Oh, I wish I had a painter here to capture this image on canvas. So I accept that I made a mistake, Michel. I promise I'll bring you your food from now on. I'll take very good care of you. Hee, this is going to be fun. Listening to her childish, yet deeply malicious laughter, I understood. I was her plaything now. My hell was only just beginning. God, it just gets darker. Oh, I hope something happens to Amy. How did everything end after, I imagine that was an awkward conversation she must have had after Michel got taken away. Did she admit? Did her and Didier admit to the affair, or did they just play dumb? Oh, Michel doesn't know what she's talking about. She's crazy. Having gotten food and water, my body recovered somewhat, but I was hardly in peak condition. That would take some time, given how badly malnourished I had been. Amy continued to treat me like her pet, constantly stoking the flame of rage within me. Maybe Michel ended up killing her, I don't know. But I was too weak to stay on my feet for long, and talking hurt my throat. I assume it was a calculated effort on her part to maintain power over me, to keep me as miserable as possible. She always had a smirk on her face as she gazed down on me. Come on, open up. Today I'm going to feed you myself. What's the matter? I can't put anything in with your mouth closed. Or do you want to starve to death? Amy, why are you doing this? Why? Because it's fun. Why else? You married into this family, you sick wench. What gives you the idea you can treat me? Are you saying that because I married in, I'm of lesser status than you? That's true, I am. But what's your point? You think you can intimidate me with formalities? Amy. Ooh, I would rather you not speak my name, if you wouldn't mind. That doesn't excuse your treatment of me. Someone, Didier or Georges, will make you pay for this. You don't have a single friend here, Michel. No one to take your side. And no one to say a thing about me playing with you. So she's like turning Michel against the family too, being like, if they cared about you, they would have rescued you by now, so they don't care. Assuming you were somehow able to tell someone, no one would believe you. That's a lie. Do you have any idea what people say about you? They say you've gone mad, that you've sold your soul to the devil. Do you honestly believe anyone would trust you? I am not mad. I don't know, you look plenty mad to me. Fine, then I'll run away. I'll escape from this estate, and from you. You think you could survive out in the world with that body? A stray cat could lift more than you. You'd never find work. I give you a week at best. You can't be so sure of that. Maybe I could make it on my own. Maybe, but either way, there's no way you're getting out. You try to run, someone might just cut your legs off. How is that at all necessary? Don't ask me. Maybe because your curse hasn't broken. You know, you're lucky you're even allowed to live. And you should be grateful to me for volunteering to take care of you. Because something obviously happened, because it was the father, right? The father who wanted to kill Michel. So something must have pushed him over the edge. I can't remember if it was brought up, like, what happened to Michel, like, what happened that caused the father to be like, we have to kill you? Maybe he did. Maybe he attacked Amy. Precious Amy that everybody loves. Nobody else wanted to have anything to do with it. So if you want to keep living, you have to show me some respect, and you have to do everything I tell you to. Understood? So this is the real you? You were just pretending to be respectable. When in reality, not only are you sleeping... Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm mixing that up. I'm thinking about, Giselle. Giselle was the one who was supposed to be killed off, not Michel. But yeah, I'm still curious about, like, how Michel went from being locked in here with, like, Amy to being sent to the mansion. Okay, yeah, when in reality, not only are you sleeping with Didier, you're a downright vile woman. You've been putting on an act, and it was the mother who wanted to kill, it was the mother who wanted to kill Giselle, not the father, right? Yeah, because the father was having the affair with Giselle, so the father was just like, let's just send her off instead. Oh, you make it sound like I'm somehow worse than anyone else. I'm quite normal, thank you. How is this normal? Listen to me, Michel. The side of me you see right now isn't necessarily the whole thing. The sweet girl I am for the family is also me. And when I held you in my arms, that too was me. I'm not putting on an act. Liar. Although, to tell you the truth, I never actually liked you. So that part was a lie, yes. If Mother hadn't asked, I would have never even considered getting friendly with you. Amy, you know, life as a noble woman is so dull. It's so restrictive. No, this is like her way of having power. No room for love at all. So can you really blame me? There so happened to be the most wonderful night right here for the taking. Why shouldn't I have gone after him? I'm still young. Let me have some fun, you know? Not like women have much else in the way of recreation. So it wasn't Didier, but you who seduced him? And it all would have worked out so beautifully, too, if only you had kept your mouth shut. Oh, like, don't act like Didier didn't have some sort of, like, say in this. He wasn't like some, like, helpless man who's just like, oh, I couldn't resist. Like, dude, that is your brother's fiance. Come on. Takes two to tango. That's all I'm saying. You ruined our family gathering and damaged my reputation. And you called me a whore. That wasn't very nice now, was it? Is it any surprise I'm a little sore? You brought this on yourself, Michel. I brought this on myself? Don't you dare. Nothing justifies what you're doing to me. I'm not the disturbed one. You're a crazy whore, and don't you try to pretend otherwise, damn you. Oh my, such language. You're not being very nice to me, Michel. Girls aren't supposed to talk like that, you know. I am not a girl. Then what are you? I'm a man. A man? With that body? Amy quietly rose, grabbed me by the hair and shoved me to the floor. Let go of me. You call yourself a man? You can't even get out of a girl's grip. I'm not all that strong either. In fact, I'd say I'm rather weak. Just a small, powerless girl. If you were a man, you would have no problem breaking free, malnourished or otherwise. But you can't. Get... She traced the lines of my emaciated ribs with her nails, traveling slowly, slowly down my chest. But even ignoring that, you're missing the most important part. Stop. Get off me. I tried to shove her aside with all the strength I could squeeze out of my arms. But as Amy had said, I couldn't even overpower a girl. All I could do was lie there beneath her and beg. Get off me, groaning in anger and frustration. Her finger came to a stop just above my navel. She looked up at me with a sweet smile, and then pulled her hand away. And just as a wave of relief spread through me, she shoved me back, jumped up, and slammed her foot between my legs. Oh. I shuddered as the pain jolted up my spine. Ah! Amy looked down at me as I screamed. Ah! A smirk spread across her face. Oh my, does that hurt? That's a surprise. Even without boy parts, it still hurts? Stop, please. And she didn't stop at stepping on me. I'm begging you, stop, please. She dug her toes into my flesh. What are you exactly, Michel? From the feel of it, you don't quite have proper girl parts either. Amy, please. On top of the physical pain, unbearable humiliation and shame corroded away at my spirit. What a strange creature you are. Hee hee. Stop! If I could have died right then and there, honestly, that would have been preferable to the emotional hell she was putting me through. You should take a look at yourself in the mirror, Michel. You're crying, sobbing like a sad little girl. Haha, not much of a boy, are you? And you lusted after me with this body? Ha, seriously, you're disgusting. I can't believe you actually had the gall to fall for me. Amy's abuse was not a one-time occurrence. As she had promised, she came to feed me every day, but her arrival brought nothing but anguish and torture. Every day she chipped away more of my spirit, but I hadn't succumbed to her yet. My anger still overpowered any fear I felt. About a week after Amy started caring for me. Have you been a good girl, Michel? I brought you your supper. I'll set it right here for you. What's the matter, Michel? Your food's right here. It's going to get cold. Go on, eat. But no using your hands. Crawl over and use your mouth. Come on, eat. Or would you rather I fed you? You. What was that? Do you have something to say? Oh, maybe. Maybe he will. I can't understand a word you're saying, Michel. If you would eat, you'd have enough strength to talk. Kill you. Huh? I'm going to kill you. Amy! Shit. That was, I believe, the first time in my life I had felt a sincere, overpowering desire to end someone's life. I wanted to see her dead. My hands and legs tied up, I lurched for her, and like the dog she so wanted me to be, I chomped down on her wrist. Ah! The taste of someone's blood was far more unpleasant than I had expected. I felt like I was going to vomit. But I was determined to not let go of her wrist for any reason. I would gnaw through to the bone and rip her entire hand off. Yeah, as if the family doesn't think that Michel's crazy as it is. The fact that, like, he attacked her and Amy's gonna turn it around and be like, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm just being nice. I'm just bringing her food. And she just attacked me out of nowhere. She could beat me unconscious, and I still wouldn't let go. She would have to kill me to get me off of her. I wanted her to feel the same pain I felt when she trampled on me. Let go. I mean, the servant didn't deserve it. I'm glad he didn't actually get his dick cut off, but Amy absolutely deserves this. My body never did what I wanted it to, though. I could swear on my life I wouldn't release her arm, but I could never seem to make good on my determination. Amy's foot flew up into my emaciated gut. The pointed tip of her shoe dug into my flesh like a knife, and I collapsed to the floor in a fit of convulsions. And just as I was about to cough up a mouthful of stomach acid, she rammed her foot into my abdomen a second time. Damn it! That was so not satisfying. Gah! She didn't even give me enough time to get to my feet, let alone fight back before she kicked me again. Ah! Again and again and again and again. Ow, stop. My gut, my chest, my legs, and my face. What's wrong with you? Don't you get it? You're not the one in control here. You should be thanking me. Ugh. What you did to me that day was incredibly hurtful. Yet here I am bringing you your food. Can you not see just how kind-hearted I am? So why would you go and bite me? What would possess you to do such a thing? Gasping for breath, my consciousness slipping away from me, I caught a glimpse of Amy's eyes as she swung her leg back for another kick. And when I did, a single word rose to my mind. Demon. Haha, isn't that something? You can't even stand up to a girl. Ugh. I'm not that strong. I'm weak and frail. This is the first time I've ever kicked someone. I have absolute control over you, Michel. You understand that now, right? Like, she's typical bully. Like, doesn't have power over her life, so she's taking it out on someone who has even less power than her. You learned your lesson, didn't you? Not an ounce of strength remained within me. My tongue and cheeks were torn up, and my mouth tasted of blood. Thinking herself weak and having no experience in the ways of physical violence, she knew no restraint. The ignorance can be so much more brutal and viciously relentless than the seasoned. My vision had gone red, and I could hardly feel my own face. There was a strange gurgling sound with every breath I took. Geez, what am I going to do about this hand? It hurts like crazy. Oh, I know. I'll tell everyone you finally lost it, and tried to bite my hand off. They'll all feel so bad for me. Exactly. I knew she was going to do that. She's going to turn it around. I can just see the sad looks on Didier and George's faces. They will not. You know, your brothers have completely given up on you. A deranged sister is nothing but trouble. You know what you are, Michel? You're a demon child. Why was I the demon, and not her? Why did no one come to my aid? Several times I considered ending my life, but every time I did, memories of better days came back to me, of the time before my body had transformed. The days when we were all so sure of our happiness kept me chained to life. Why couldn't things be the way they had been then? In my heart, I hadn't changed at all. So how had things ended up like this? Michel! Oh, Michel! Are you in there? Did you need something, Georges? Oh, come on, don't be like that. Do I have to need something to talk to you? No, but you looked like you were in an unusually good mood, so I thought... Well, why wouldn't I be? It's a wonderfully gloomy day out. I would understand if it were clear out, but can you really say it's wonderfully gloomy? Well, you can't be outside for very long when it's not cloudy, so in our case, this is perfect weather. Oh. What do you say we go for a little stroll while we can? Dee's around today, too, so we can see if he's up for it. It'll be like old times. We've been running around like headless chickens lately, so we haven't had much of a chance for a sibling outing. We'll have Mom make us a lunch, and then... Oh, we'll take a couple of horses up to the forest edge. I'm fine with that if you are. You bet your bum I am. I asked after all. Now come on, let's go. I know the brothers are gonna save Michel. They have to, right? Or else he wouldn't end up where he is in present time. I like to believe the brothers never gave up on him. And Amy's just lying. An outing, you say? Yep. Hop on a couple of horses and head for the forest. We haven't done this in a while, so I figured why not? I see. Well, if Michel's coming, I see no reason to say no. Let's set off right away. Whoa, slow down there. Are you saying you wouldn't go if it was just me? It's Michel or nothing? Of course. Why on earth would I want to go horse riding alone with you? I would rather drown myself. Le gasp! Di dear, could I perhaps make a small request? Go on, let's hear it. Do you mind if I hold the horse's reins? Oh, that's all? By all means. I'll be there behind you to make sure nothing happens, so have at it. But do be warned, my horse is a bit temperamental. If you're not gentle, he'll start getting moody with you. I doubt that would be a problem for you, though, Michel. I'll be careful. Hey, whoa, slow down, guys. Look at that, Michel. Georges is still fumbling around all the way back there. Are we going a bit too fast? No, you're fine. That you were able to get past that so quickly is proof of your talent. Finally caught up. This isn't a race, you know. Why can't we enjoy the scenery, indulge in some nice pathos? A warrior and his horse need not have pathos. Isn't that right, Michel? It certainly is, dear. Come on, you guys, be nice. This was my idea. You've really taken after old D, haven't you, Michel? I, for one, would rather see you admiring flowers, or dancing with butterflies, or gazing out at a beautiful sunset, or enjoying poetry. More pathos, my dear sister, and less barbarism. Long swords, suit of armors, and tales of heroic knights are so much more appealing, though. You've let him get his claws in too deep, Michel. Oh dear, oh my, I'm going to have 2 meathead siblings before I know it. What did you just call me? Now, you two. Why don't we stop here for a picnic? Seconded. My stomach's been rumbling up a storm. I took a few bites earlier because I was about to die back there. I hope your horse throws you into a river. Oh, look at that. So cute. Hey, so the other day I brought a cat home. A cat? Yep, speckled from head to tail and ugly as a witch's arse. I was gonna keep it in my room, but Mom flipped when she saw it. Keep that filthy thing out of my house. Wish there was something we could do about how much of a clean freak she is. Georges, try not to stress Mother too much. You're unpredictable enough as it is. It would be nice, though, to have a cat, I mean. You think so? Then how about this? We'll keep it in the courtyard. I'll feed it on days when it's clear, and you can do it when it's cloudy, Michel. I don't know what cats eat, though. I bet he'd like pastries. Do you want to kill the cursed thing? I cannot approve of anyone taking care of an animal who thinks that's a good idea. Sorry. Oh, pull the stick out of your arse, D. Life's all about experimentation. Live and learn. Don't experiment on animals. Well, if you're gonna be like that, how about you help out too? You can keep an eye on us and make sure we don't do anything stupid. He's like, that's what I do all the time. What? Now you're trying to drag me into this? Already done. You're in. It's settled. Damn it, Georges. Now we need to come up with a name. Have any ideas, Michel? What? You want me to name it? Not very often you get to give another living thing a name. Well, I guess you might have a few more chances down the road. Consider this practice. Something elegant and beautiful. You've got this. Now, Georges, don't put so much pressure on her. You have a point, though. It is a good opportunity. Don't stress too much about it, Michel. Just choose something you like. You said the cat was speckled and ugly? Yep, one look and you'll be laughing so hard you can't breathe. Alright then. Ugly Speckles. Oh, girl. Oh, girl, you gotta learn. Cats are so fun to name. Like, you can give cats the most ridiculous name and it will somehow suit them, but I guess Ugly Speckles is kind of a ridiculous name in itself, but it's very on the nose. That's its name? It would seem you do not have a future in the arts, Michel. But you said it was ugly and speckled, George. I did, yes. You could have tried a little harder than that, though. Well, you know, why not? Ugly Speckles it is, then. It's actually kind of charming when you say it out loud. Ugly Speckles. It's not that funny. It is quite something indeed. The more I think about it, the more I... Not you too, dear. We should bring Ugly Speckles on our next outing. Sitting together beneath the clouds, having lunch. That we should. When Michelle's gotten a little bigger, let's do this again. The 3 of us and our ugly speckled cat. You said it. We're all good friends here after all. I've never been your friend, though. God, must you always be such a jerk? Now all I can think about is like, what happened to Ugly Speckles? I want a side story of what happened to Ugly Speckles. Dear, Georges, was Amy telling the truth? Do you really think I'm nothing but trouble? Do you think I've lost my mind? That I'm a demon child? Dear, Georges, why do you not open this door for me and let me out? Were the things I said that day really so heinous? Do you resent me too, like Amy? Di, dear. George's. How do you think about me now? Is this body really so unusual? If I hadn't undergone the transformation I did, would things still have been the way they were before? Would we be able to go out to that forest again and make silly, meaningless conversation, everyone laughing like we had then? If this body hadn't changed the way it did, would I not be trapped in this darkness? Even if that were the case, I didn't want to be a girl. If God descended from heaven and offered to change me back, I would have turned him down. Because inside, I wasn't a girl. And my nightmare at Amy's hands didn't end there either. As much as I loathed to admit it, I was terrified of her. Every day, I dreaded the sound of the door opening. However, if I were to block the door off with furniture, I would lose my only remaining lifeline. I had no choice in the matter. It's time for supper, Michel. I brought your favorite, parsnip. Well, what the dogs didn't eat of them anyway. But you don't mind, do you? I'm going to cut your nails today, Michel. I need you to stay very still. You wouldn't want my hands to slip. So to make sure you do, I'm tying you up. This way you can't accidentally move. Here's your water, Michel. It's murky? Oh, heavens me. I must have fetched it from the wash basin by mistake. It's supper time, Michel. I brought you parsnips again. Don't worry, the dogs didn't have any of these. They didn't seem to be interested in eating them raw. What, you don't want any? Then what am I going to do with these? You know, Michel, you're such a disgrace. Cry for me, won't you? Beg for mercy. Haha. Look at you, all that pride, gone out the window. It's hilarious, I tell you. She did everything imaginable to torture me, both physically and emotionally. To be honest, it was rather impressive, in a sick way, how she was able to come up with so many different ways to torment me. And she knew precisely what caused me the most pain. My body and the discrepancy between what I was and what I felt I was. She delighted in telling me I wasn't male, and sometimes in showing me, but I don't think I need to describe the things she did to me in any more detail. I could think of only one way to keep myself from breaking down. I completely stopped talking, stopped struggling, and one day after about 6 months or so, she said with a disinterested sigh, I'm done. That's the thing, right? It's just like if you give bullies, like, someone like that who wants a reaction, if you don't give them a reaction, eventually they're just going to get bored of it. And that was the last of it. By swallowing my pride and not resisting, I was able to escape from her grip. Once she was gone, the servants took over attending to me again. I was still imprisoned, but now there was a serenity in my solitude. I didn't speak with anyone. I didn't make eye contact. I didn't do anything. I just lived. But even though I had peace, I still feared Amy having a change of heart. I trembled at the possibility that one day it might be her that opened the door. But above all, I hated, despised the fact I lived in fear of such a fear of a girl. An overwhelming self-loathing threatened to crush me. I had recurring nightmares about the things Amy had done to me. The wounds she gave me did not heal. They only grew worse, eating away at me day after day. I was beginning to lose confidence in my own sanity in the silent darkness, where there was no sense of time. The line between dream and reality blurred. I often found myself screaming, crying into the empty air. I clawed at my skin, pulled out my hair, paced back and forth across the room, pounded at the door yelling for help, screamed some more. It was the very image of pitiful, absolutely wretchedness. And every time I did, I was sure there was someone on the other side of the door, whispering about how poor Michel had lost her mind. Eventually, I gave up entirely. It was a stormy night in my 16th year. I had been confined for more than 2 years at that point. Heavy rain pounded against the windows, like thousands of little spears. I was sitting quietly on my bed, unable to fall asleep, when suddenly, there was a loud banging on the door. Hey! They finally, after 2 years, they finally show up. Michel? Michel, are you awake? If you aren't, then hurry up and get awake. We've got big trouble. Lower your damn voice. But... When I first heard my brother's voices after so long, I thought I was hallucinating. In 2 years, they'd never once come for me, no matter how hard I pounded on the door, no matter how many times I called for them. Yeah, I guess, like I say, that they never they never stopped being on his side, but that's not true, because they would have visited him if, you know, they weren't at least, like, I'm sure they were a little afraid of Michel, or were wary, but I guess at least eventually they did the right thing. Low bar, but after all that time, I didn't expect that to ever change. I had given up. I assumed they had long since cast me aside. Unable to bring myself to say anything, I simply stared at the door. When there was another bam, bam, the sound was half consumed by a crack of thunder, giving it an indescribably eerie quality. Please say something, Michel. Seriously, there's no time. You can hear us in there, can't you? You're there behind the door, aren't you? Come on, just one word, Michel. Is it really you, Didier, Georges? For a moment, they seemed to be at a loss for words, probably because they almost didn't recognize my voice. But it was only a heartbeat, and then Didier spoke. There is a carriage waiting outside. I'm going to unlock the door so you can leave in it. Why? Because Dad's talking crazy. He's saying the Bullinger family has no need for a demon child. Now you're a mark of shame on our name. So he's going to have you executed. Okay, yeah. Georges, Father wants me dead? It felt like the floor had fallen out from under me. Executed? Demon child? Mark of shame? Okay, yeah, so I guess I did remember that correctly about the father wanting him dead, because it was only after the father died. I think it was more for Giselle's... Oh boy, now I'm trying to remember, like, am I remembering this correctly? Because I feel like part of the reason that they're like, oh, we can finally go back to the house after the father died was for Giselle's sake, but it's for Michel's sake, too. He was saying I didn't even deserve to live anymore? It's planned for tomorrow morning. We only just found out ourselves, which is why you prepared a way for me to escape. But why? Why? Do you even need to ask? Because we're family. Something terrible has gotten into Father. I clenched my teeth, fighting back a bitter, angry sigh, but I couldn't keep all those emotions bottled up for long. A maelstrom of feelings I thought I had lost in my 2 years of imprisonment swirled up inside me, spilling from my lips. Why? Why are you doing this now? That's right, read them to filth. Call them out. If you really felt that way, then why didn't you come sooner? 2 years I spent locked in this room. Do you have any idea how I felt in that time? Any idea how hard I had to fight to endure? How many times I cried for your help? How hard I pounded on the door begging to be set free? But never once did you come. Not even once. Michel, I scare you, don't I? You think I've gone insane, that I've lost my mind, that I sold my soul to the devil, don't you? No, Michel, we don't. Then why? Why didn't you come and set me free? Michel, we don't think you've lost your mind at all. So you didn't want to see me then. You didn't want to face what I'd become. Tell me I'm wrong, Didier, Georges. You left me here, abandoned me, for 2 whole years, locked me away so you didn't have to see me. I'm sorry, I just, really busy with my art. Really, dude? Really, wow. I've been getting a ton of commissions down at the court. And Didier's a knight now, so he's up to his neck in expeditions. It's not like Michel's in some faraway place locked away, literally in the same home you're in. I'm really sorry. As am I. I cannot say that you were wrong. At least Didier's being honest about it. After what happened, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to act around you. I'm still not sure, even now. I knew I had to find the time to collect myself, but I kept putting it off, vainly hoping that time would take care of it all. And for that I owe you an apology, but you need to understand. I do not agree with Father's decision. I do not want to lose you. I don't think you're a demon child, and Georges feels the same. Neither of us want to see you dead. But what he said, Michel, there's not much time. We need to get you out of here. I bit down hard on my lower lip, hard enough to draw blood. It was that, or start sobbing. It's a little late for that. Michel, if you don't get out of here, you're going to be killed. If I'm an angel, or if I'm not an angel sent from heaven, or a demon child, then what am I? What on earth am I? What are you? You're a Bullinger. You're our family. And that's all there is to it. I pray you can forgive me for averting my eyes for so long. Can I trust you? Can I trust that even if the whole world says I'm cursed, that you'll always be on my side? That you'll always be my brothers? Can I put my trust in you once more? Die, dear. George's. You absolutely can, Michel. Now here's the thing. Who was the one who sent the knights? Oh yeah, the fact that they're knights. Was that Didier who did that? The ones who were sent to kill Michel once they got word he was coming back to the estate. Was that the mother? Now I'm thinking, like, if Didier is the leader of the knights or whatever, maybe it was him. He had a change of heart somehow and was like, wait, we can't actually have him come back. Ooh, I want to get an answer to that. Like, who is the one who decided to kill Michel? I'm guessing it was probably Didier, if not both the brothers. Maybe it was the mother. I don't know. I swear to God on high, because this whole thing about, like, you can trust us, we promise, even though we kind of fucked you over by not seeing you for 2 years. And I swear to the god of art. Michel, I have no other choice, do I? I couldn't talk Father out of it, could I? I would rather you didn't try. He's not a man to change his mind. If you were to show up before him, he would likely draw his sword on you himself. It would destroy Mother. I'm sorry, we're not doing this only for you. Okay, I'll go. Thank goodness. The carriage will take you to a mansion, Michel. It's a property Father purchased some time ago, but due to rumors about the house, it's abandoned. No one wants to buy it from him either, and that's unlikely to change. It's the ideal place to keep you out of sight. What kinds of rumors? Well, no point in keeping it a secret. He has a right to know. They say a witch lives there. A witch? I think it's all just made up, personally. I went to check the place out, and there was no one there. It was a little dreary, to be sure. I'd hoped to have a better place arranged for you, but there wasn't enough time. This is only temporary, Michel. Yes, temporary. I cannot say how long it will be, but Father will pass away eventually. When he does, George's will inherit the estate, and that will mean you can return. Okay, so George's, that's right, George's is going to be the new head of the Bullingers, so maybe it was George's who made that decision? Maybe both of them together? Because I don't think the mother would have the authority to send those knights to go kill Michel. I'm so curious about that. So I ask that you hold out until that time. If I don't leave, I'm going to be executed, so send me anywhere. I won't complain. I'm glad to hear you say that. I will talk to Father and ensure he does not suspect anything. We'll make this work, don't you worry. The long and short of it is, Dad simply wants you erased from the family. George's! Sorry. I wasn't trying to be mean. But anywho, once I take over, we're in the clear. About that. You'll be acknowledged as a Bullinger. I see. Okay, then. Can I open the door now? Maybe if George's is still with Amy, maybe she was the one who was like, no, we can't have him come back, or her, because... Or it's, you know, like, Amy doesn't believe that Michel is a boy or a girl, but, like, an in-between be like, maybe she kind of got into his ear. Maybe Didier's ear as well, because she's playing them both. Not to put, like, the blame off of the brothers. It could very well be the brothers who decided that, but I could see if Amy's still around. I want to know what happened to Amy. I hate that she seems to have, like, avoided any consequence for what she did. Huh? You're still not ready? I don't have any clothing. Ah, right. You wouldn't, huh? How tall are you now, Michel? Around the same height as you, I think. You're taller than me? Damn! Alright, I'll bring you some of my clothes. That's such a brother thing to say. Thank you. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard you say thank you without putting up a fight, Michel. That's not true. I don't think. Ha! I'll be back soon. Get what you need together. Alright. Sitting in the carriage, waiting outside, listening to the pitter-patter of the rain, I gazed out at my two brothers. I hadn't seen them in 2 years, but they hardly looked any different than how I remembered them. I was the only one who had changed, and dramatically at that. Looking at them, I couldn't help but remember the old days, playing chess with Didier, learning to draw from George's, our sibling outings. However, the ominous sound of thunder crashing in the distance drowned out those memories. The mansion is several days' travel from here. Hopefully the carriage isn't too uncomfortable. I will send a package with any supplies you need once a month. food, clothing, and something to pass the time. If there's anything you want, Michel, just tell me. Now, or you can have a servant pass a message on to me. I can't think of... Actually, wait. I can think of one thing. I would like a chess set. Alright, I'll have one made. I would rather have yours, dear. Would that be possible? Are you sure you want that beaten old thing? Yes, I want that one. Alright, I'll include it in the first delivery. I'll send you something too, Michel. Anything you want, just tell me. The paintings. In that case, I would like some art tools. I'm nowhere near as much of an artist as you are, Georges, so they don't have to be anything special. I just love the whole thing about him trying to draw Giselle, the chess set. Like, we're getting the backstory to all of this. Gotcha. So, some canvas, and how about some charcoal? And when you're back, I want to see what you've made with it, okay? Okay. Like, they really do seem like they want him back, so something must have changed in those 10 years. I know this is already hard enough on you, Michel, but I need to ask you to do something for me. Avoid making contact with anyone who doesn't already know about you. So, I can't talk to anyone but the servants. Put simply, yes, tomorrow the world will consider you dead. So we cannot have people finding out you are actually alive, especially Father. Please do this for me. I've been doing that for 2 years already. I've long since lost interest in interacting with anybody, so you don't need to ask me to keep to myself. Right. Does anyone else know I'm alive? Yes, Mother knows. In fact, this was her idea. Oh, really? Huh. It was? She loves you, Michel. She really does. Mom just, is having a little trouble facing the truth. That's an understatement. So even though she's not here to see you off, I guarantee you she doesn't want to see you dead. I guess it makes sense, the fact that the two of them were exchanging messages. She wants to have you in her life again. I expect Mother will be writing you, so please take the time to write her back. She's a troubled woman, but her love for you is true and unwavering. Will you do that? Just a quick little, hey, I got your letter, doing great, will suffice. Alright. Just so you know, it kills me indeed we can't stand up to Dad. But as long as he lives, his word is God in this house. I understand that, yes. Well, you never know. He could be gone quicker than you expect. Week from now, bam, he's dead as Dee's social life. Is there not an ounce of respect in your body? Oh, give me a break. I'm upset. He's gone way too far. Once he's dragged his arse off to the great beyond, anything goes. Surprise! Michel was alive. Yeah, I suppose. Until then, we'll take care of things here. Tomorrow's gonna be the performance of our lives. Crying like a couple of big old babies and laughing our tails off inside. You'll forgive me if I have trouble trusting that loose tongue of yours. I'm not stupid. I know this is important. Not even Amy will suspect a thing. Amy. Yeah, not even she can know. It's gonna crush her, I'm sure. But the less people who know, the better. When Georgia said her name, my whole body went shamefully cold. It had been 1.5 years since the hell she put me through, but every last detail of it remained carved into my mind and body. There was no way she'd be even slightly sad about my death. She might act like it, but she would almost certainly be elated by the news. It seemed Georges had yet to see what lay beneath that woman's mask. I know you two were close. Huh? Are you worried about how this might affect her? What? She cared for you about 6 months, didn't she? When you wouldn't let the servants in. What? Oh, I wonder if he's gonna spill it or if he's gonna keep it to himself. From what I hear, you got real close to dying in there. You wouldn't even eat unless she was there. Who the hell told you that? What? Is that not what happened? Oh shit. Did something happen between you two, Michel? Amy. Amy didn't do a damn... Never mind. I can't tell them. I can't put what I went through into words. It will only worsen my shame, especially not in front of my brothers. Georges, how are things between you and Amy? You still letting what happened 2 years ago get to you? Well, I mean, at the time, things were a total disaster. I'm all excited about getting myself a pretty little wife, only to find out she's rocking the boat with someone else. I cried for weeks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Deep down, though, she ain't actually a bad girl. She's young, and kids make mistakes. After it all came out, she turned over a new leaf. She started doting on me something serious, and well, it's hard to let one little mistake like that go when she's trying so hard to make up with me. The age excuse doesn't work for Dee, though. For about a year, things were really rough between us. Oh gosh, yeah, like how old is Amy? And like how old is Di dear? Oh, that puts like a whole level of ick, because I feel like she wasn't that much. I think she said she was 15 or something. She wasn't much older than Michel when they met. And Di dear is probably like in his 20s? I know times were different back then, but ugh. For about a year, things were really rough between us. I didn't even want to look at him. But at the end of the day, we're family. We can get past anything. Besides, because you let the cat out of the bag, it gave me something to hold over Dee. All things considered, I'm not complaining. So, you'd say you're happy then, Georges? Sure would, yep. Believe it or not, I'm kinda head over heels for her. Hard not to like a girl like Amy. Oh god, it just feels like stabbing, I'm sure, just like Michel knows the truth about her. I see. Do you really feel that bad about 2 years ago? So she's still keeping up the good girl facade around Georges and Di dear. No one else knows. She's actually a sadistic, cackling demon. There's nothing less trustworthy in the world than a woman who's always smiling. But if Georges thinks he's happy, I can't take that away from him. Michel? Oh, right, yes. I do feel guilty about the way I lost control of my emotions and took it out on you guys. It happens to everyone. In fact, you could stand to do a little more shouting and fussing. Then you could, because I have underdeveloped social skills. You heard that? You've got one hell of a nasty streak, huh, Dee? Ugh. I'm glad to hear you're still on good terms. It wasn't my intention to pit the two of you against each other. We know, the blame falls on my shoulders. I want you to know something, Michel. Though your transformation was too much for Mother and Father to accept, with enough time, everything will go back to the way it was before. Just like it did for myself and Georges. None of this is your fault. It was all unfortunate timing. God's a little bit of a jerk, too. Try not to forget, I am a knight, Georges. Yeah, and who were the ones who came? Now I'm trying to remember, was it knights or was it like a God's crusade or something? But then again, Di dear, he's like, isn't he like a knight for the church or something? Like now I'm thinking even more and more like this was Di dear's doing. Maybe the two of the brothers together. Maybe the whole family. In time? In time. Speaking of which, we don't have much left. I'm going to tell the coachman to set off, okay? Di dear. Yes? Tell me the truth. Will the three of us ever meet again? Why would you ever ask that? Of course we will. Not a chance I'm letting this be our last family get-together. This is so sad knowing what actually happened. They never saw each other again. One last question, then. Yes? Am I your brother? Well, I mean, look at ya. Don't look like much of a sister to me. So yeah, I'd say you are. I see. So long then. That's like the first time he's ever been acknowledged as a boy. Farewell, and may good health bless you until we meet again. Until then, Michel. Farewell. And they used his name, the proper name. Before seeing me off for good, they both gave me strong, firm hugs. Di dear first, and then George's. The warmth I felt in their arms, in my family's arms, slowly spread through my chilled body, which made it that much more difficult to part ways. The wheels of the carriage rattled against the wet, stone-paved road. I stuck my head out the window, watching as they shrunk into the distance, standing there in the rain until they were completely out of view. A tightness filled my breast. Every glimmer of hope I had for my new life was matched by an equal degree of darkness and uncertainty. Would I ever make it back home? And if I did, would people still call me a demon child? Having to write Mother was another uncomfortable weight on my soul. The thought of having to play a girl for her made me sick. Georges had acted like it would be nothing, but it wasn't that easy. It was more than mere pretend. Di dear had said that with time, things would change. But how could he be certain that those changes would be for the better? The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. The next thing I know, I'm sinking into a vast void. Darkness cuffs my hands and legs, restricting my movement. Images of the past I'd kept buried away for so long stream past me. This isn't how I wanted it to happen. Not coming from my own mouth, but being laid bare for all to see without my consent. That wasn't how I wanted her to find out about my secret, about my shameful history. I warned you, my dear. I told you you didn't want to reclaim your old self. You had simply let it be, you wouldn't be here now, forced to relive it all. Now do you understand? The tale I spun behind the fourth door was as much for you as it was for her. There you were a young man with a sad fate, but you met a wonderful woman, fell in love with her, and then died in the arms of tragedy. The sequence of events is not far from the truth, but I was able to turn it into something enchanting and beautiful. I got rid of all the nasty little details. Your ugliness, your body troubles, all of that. Doesn't it seem a bit unfair, Michel? You tore down the walls around Giselle's heart, around her past, but you wanted to keep your own nice and safe and hidden away. She has every right to be upset. You were afraid she wouldn't accept you, were you not? And that's precisely what happened. But can you honestly blame her? The truth you've kept hidden away is not something most would be able to accept. The prince who came riding in to save her, silence, wasn't actually a man. Please, enough. I've seen enough. Let it stay buried, please. Just stop this. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it. What a sad little creature you are, my dear. Not a woman in this world would have any interest in you now. You surrounded yourself with layer upon layer of walls, covered yourself with this patchwork, barely held together quilt of masks, and it's the only thing keeping you together. You're the frailest one of them all, the weakest, and it's about time you accepted that and stopped trying to fight it. I am not weak. Oh, is that so? Let's proceed with the tale then, shall we? Face the one you hate most in this world, yourself, your weakness, your ugliness. Face it and despair. Don't. So this will be after he arrives at the mansion and I guess everything that happened after. Up until he met Giselle. Well, actually, yeah, like, there's that, yeah, that whole blank space, the whole, like, 10 years before she showed up. Probably a whole lot of nothing, just like with Giselle being in the mansion for all that time with no visitors. Again, once again, my own desires, my own wishes are completely irrelevant. The past sprawls out before me once more, and the witch is exactly right. I despise the man I was then, teeming with vain hope and foolish dreams. I would rather pretend that part of me never existed, but I have no choice. I dried back into the life I once lived, my pleas for mercy fading into dark nothingness. Alright, well that will do it for another very sad, intense, heartbreaking episode as Michel's story just got worse and worse. Finally cast off, like we saw the lead up to being cast off to the mansion, the transformation from Michel to Michel, Amy just being so much more of a cruel person than I ever could have expected, and I still am hoping for some sort of comeuppance, like maybe the brothers will realize what type of person she is, but unfortunately in a story like this, it can't be all cut and dry. You can't have the villains be properly punished. And even then, I can't say she's a true villain, like she said herself. She is that kind-hearted person to, I guess, the people that she wants to be on the good side with, but she has that sadistic streak. She comes from a place of not feeling like she has power. She was kind of forced into the marriage, and she kind of gets her feelings of power where she can by picking on someone who is in an even more dire situation. So you can kind of understand in that point, but still, it was just really well done. And just my heart breaks for Michel. So I guess in the next episode we are going to see his arrival at the mansion and the time passing until he meets Giselle. And yeah, I was just like, that was just a crazy episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize for this one being a little bit short this week, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and stay tuned next week for part 17. Until then, bye guys. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Kaori Makoto, Revealing Storm, Tequila Mockingbird, Jared Fan, Izzy Ibo, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Carolus, Mad Goldsmith, Wu Sing Chrysalis, and Lumi Arclight.